No DQ Galaxy. We are live with a recap of Monday Night Raw for June the 27th, 2022 on the final road to Money in the Bank this coming Saturday live on Peacock and the WWE Network. Hamp Connell already sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Hamp. Says, I was going to rip this show to shreds for how bad it was, but then I watched a show called Touched by an Angel. New Beavis and Butthead is so good. I have not seen Touched by an Angel, but I will say I really liked the new Beavis and Butthead movie, Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe. Very entertaining. But anyways, we're not talking about that. We're talking about Monday Night Raw. We had John Cena making his return to celebrate 20 years since his debut in WWE. This is actually his anniversary. June 27th, 2002 was when he came out to the ring, confronted Kurt Angle, and said that he has ruthless aggression. Joey Perez says Beavis finally scored. Well, spoiler alert, it was smart Beavis, not Beavis himself, but they all celebrated anyways. So John Cena was walking backstage and he shook hands with pretty much everybody. The entire locker room back there. Cena was hugging people, shaking hands. Big red carpet here, so to speak, symbolically for John Cena, giving him the greatest of all time treatment. Really good stuff here. I like it that they decided to build up to Cena's appearance, and throughout the show we had John Cena video clips and all sorts of little messages about John Cena, and we'll get to that more here in just a few moments. We had a last chance battle royal with the winner getting an opportunity at the Money in the Bank ladder match coming up. Originally, it was supposed to be Kevin Owens versus Ezekiel, but they announced that the match will have to be postponed. Ezekiel was on Raw. Kevin Owens was not. They did not say why. Kevin Owens was not there. I mean, we all know one potential reason why he wasn't there, but they're not going to say it. Hopefully he's okay, though, and we'll see him back soon. Maybe they'll have it as soon as SmackDown. Raw guys on SmackDown. I mean, they've done it before. Anyways, Dominik and Rey Mysterio were one of the only guys that got entrances. Dominik was wearing an LWO shirt, which was a nice touch. Shinsuke Nakamura and Riddle got entrances. Interestingly enough, AJ Styles did not get an entrance. He was just one of the random guys out there in the Battle Royal. But he did have quite a bit of a role on this show. Tozawa was the first one out. No surprise here. You had the Mysterios and Mustafa Ali working together to eliminate Veer. So Veer will have to live to fight another day. R-Truth and Shanky were dancing a little bit. Jinder Mahal attacked R-Truth, tossed him out. Jinder eliminated Shanky, double-crossing him. And Miz and Dolph Ziggler worked together for a while. They eliminated Rey Mysterio. They tried to eliminate Riddle. T-Bar ended up tossing out Ricochet, but Ricochet jumped onto the ladder, jumped back onto the apron, and then hit a Hurricane Rana to eliminate T-Bar. Miz started selling his knee, and he was on the outside. And at this point, I'm like, okay, this is the thing where the guy jumps back in at the very last minute. Thankfully, they changed it up a little bit, which I do appreciate. We had it down to Styles and Riddle. They were trading blows back and forth. And then all of a sudden, you had Miz pulling AJ Styles out of the ring, causing Styles to be eliminated. Miz got back into the ring to fight with Riddle. So it wasn't the usual scenario where somebody's declared the winner and they're celebrating, the British Bulldog, Shawn Michaels 95 Royal Rumble. Thankfully, they did not do that. They changed it up a little bit. Miz and Riddle were the last two. Miz countered an RKO, hit the skull-crushing finale, tried to eliminate Riddle, but Riddle held on to the ropes. They were both on the apron, and Riddle hit the RKO on the apron, sending Miz to the outside. Riddle officially added to Money in the Bank in his neck of the woods, Las Vegas, Nevada, this coming Sunday. Good stuff here. I'm glad Riddle is part of the Money in the Bank match now. We had Ezekiel backstage with John Cena. As I mentioned, Ezekiel was there. Kevin Owens was not. We had Montez Ford versus Jey Uso in another momentum match for the tag team title match coming up at Money in the Bank. And beforehand, we had the Street Profits backstage cutting a promo, and they were making a joke about John Cena, but you couldn't see John Cena. Then, of course, the real John Cena showed up, and they asked him for advice. He said, never forget who you are and how good you are. We had our match, Jey Uso, Montez Ford. Good match here, pretty standard one-on-one match. And the announcers talked about how it was two elite tag teams going back and forth here, or battling it out at the pay-per-view. Ford made a comeback and hit the blockbuster, but Jey kicked out. Jimmy got on the apron to interfere. Dawkins tackled him. And then Jey Uso went to the outside with a dive on Dawkins. Ford went to the outside with a dive on Jey. Got him back in the ring. And then Ford hit the big frog splash and picked up the victory to get some momentum heading into the pay-per-view. I mean, it was pretty standard stuff here. And then backstage, Finn Balor and Damian Priest were confronting the Mysterios, and essentially Balor and Priest were trying to cause friction between the Mysterios. Priest said maybe it's not bad luck, maybe Rey is just a bad father. And then Rey challenged them to a tag team match next week in San Diego, 619 territory. So that should be a fun match next week. And then we had a John Cena video package, which was very well done, as the WWE video packages tend to be, pretty much showcasing all of his big moments, the Make-A-Wish moments, lots of stuff over the 20 years for sure. And we also had some video messages from a lot of people. Oh, I apparently screwed up. Money in the Bank is Saturday, not Sunday. Whoops. My bad. One night event. It is Saturday, not Sunday. We had several people sending in video messages. Kurt Angle, of course, did one. Triple H, Shawn Michaels, JBL, Chris Jericho, the Wizard from AEW. And he wasn't the only one. We also had Bryan Danielson, but he was called Daniel Bryan in the video. And The Big Show. I thought no more BS. Wasn't that the t-shirt that he was marketing? No more BS. And well, BS was back for one night via a little video message that aired on a WWE RAW. So yeah, 3 AEW contracted stars. Big Show, or Paul White, Bryan Danielson / Daniel Bryan, and the Wizard himself, Chris Jericho, all paying tribute to John Cena. Jericho, the sports entertainer, showing his appreciation for John Cena. And this was really cool. They got pretty much every major name, other than The Rock. No Rock for this, but pretty much everybody else paying tribute to John Cena. I liked it. Very cool. Very classy. Moving on here, we had The Miz coming back out to the ring. And he had his ring gear on, and he was interviewed about Logan Paul. Apparently, Logan Paul is training for a return. And Miz said it will be at SummerSlam. They are going to team together. But what's his name? The ring interviewer, Kevin Patrick, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. He asked Miz about the attack at WrestleMania when Miz attacked his partner, Logan Paul. And Miz was talking about how it was a teaching lesson. And they will work together again. They will become undisputed tag team champions. And then Miz was asked about the Battle Royal. And Miz said that the only disappointing aspect of any of this is AJ Styles and his losing streak that's going on. And Styles arrived. He got in the ring. He punched The Miz. And then we had a match between these guys. Miz and AJ Styles, even though they already competed in the Battle Royal. Pretty lengthy back and forth match here, which usually would be fine, but they did a cheap ass finish. So Miz could not put away AJ Styles. Styles hit a brain buster, went for the phenomenal forearm, but then Miz just slipped out of the ring, retreated, went to the back, got counted out. You know what? If you're going to do a count out, just make it a short match, like 3 minutes, so at least we're not investing a lot of time in a match that has no outcome. Just my opinion on it. Like, I feel like my time was wasted. I'm watching a long match only for it to end in a count out. Like, just make it a short match if that's what you're going to do. And Styles was also looking to be cut open a little bit in the face during that match. We had Austin Theory backstage confronting John Cena, a little possible tease for SummerSlam. And Theory made fun of Cena for being in 2022 a grown-ass man wearing jorts. Theory wanted to get a selfie of it, and Cena just walked away. But hey, he still got a picture of John Cena, right? Bianca Belair was interviewed, and she said she wants to talk to Carmella face-to-face. Bianca said Carmella has potential to be great, but is too focused on her looks, and said that Carmella better bring it at Money in the Bank. Carmella arrived, said she's the total package, not Lex Luger. Maybe the female total package, I guess. And she's not going to apologize for it. She said she's going to take the title and Money in the Bank, yada, yada, yada. She attempted a cheap shot, but was unsuccessful and got knocked out of the ring. Whatever. I mean, total filler match. Carmella's not winning the title. It's just somebody for Bianca Belair to beat. And as Steve-O points out, basically a waste of Bianca Belair's time. and ours. Next up, we had Alexa Bliss versus Liv Morgan. And they had a little pre-match promo backstage teasing that there's no friends in Money in the Bank. And Liv said they're not even friends. She's going to knock Alexa off the ladder. Alexa's time is up. Her time is now, using the John Cena line. And then we had the match. Asuka was at ringside on commentary. And quite frankly, I thought Asuka was the best part of this match. Like, she was more entertaining. The match was pretty much nothing. Like, just a basic TV match. And Liv countered the Alexa Bliss DDT into a pin, picked up the win to get some momentum, blah, blah, blah. You know, very skippable in my opinion. Then we had the John Cena celebration, which is why a lot of us tuned into Raw this week. Vince McMahon showed up again. Anybody shocked by this? I'm not. He basically introduced John Cena. You had all the wrestlers on the stage. Cena came down to the ring, talked about it being his WWE birthday, as I mentioned earlier. And essentially, John Cena praised the fans. They're the reason he was able to have a run for 20 years. They were very much into him, loudly chanting John Cena. And he thanked them. They thanked him. He said his heart was beating out of his chest. And Cena talked about how the people made him a better human being. They taught him perseverance. He said he's 45 years old. He doesn't know when he'll be back in the ring again. He did not commit to SummerSlam. And he talked about how throughout his career, it was never about him. It was about all of us. And he said that you got to never give up. And we're just getting started. Everyone loved this promo. I thought it was fantastic. John Cena had the crowd in the palm of his hand. Everybody loved it, but Mo Camera. Shocker of the year that Mo Camera did not like it, but I thought it was awesome. John Cena is truly one of those great, all-time great superstar personas in the wrestling industry, bar none. Like, he's out there, and the way he can just go through a promo and have you along for every word he says, like it's just a skill that very few people have. Now, of course, Mo Camera disagrees, but Mo, you gotta just let it go at this point. Interstate Kyle with the $2 super chat says, John Cena is the GOAT. Greetings from Vancouver, Washington. Shout out to Josh, good friend of mine from the Vancouver area. That's suburb of Portland, Oregon, where I used to live, and a certain alter ego of mine is dead and buried there. Thank you for that, Interstate Kyle, and I appreciate your Pacific Northwest travel photos. Make sure you guys follow him on YouTube. Jose, I would say like pretty much everyone in the locker room cannot hang with John Cena on the mic. Let's be real here. And another comment here. John Cena is basically WWE's last megastar. And when it's all said and done, you know, he's never going to be the biggest draw of all time like Steve Austin. But as far as his longevity goes and his classiness and his whole demeanor, he very well may be the greatest of all time. It's certainly debatable. Now, let's move on here. We had Bobby Lashley going up against the Alpha Academy with Austin Theory as the special guest enforcer, which means he was on the outside of the ring, but of course he was getting involved. He got on the apron and Lashley went after him, but then Gable took advantage with a cannonball off the apron, and then Otis splashed Lashley. They worked him over for a while. Otis powerbombed Lashley. Gable hit his moonsault, but Lashley was able to kick out. Lashley got Otis up on his shoulders, dropped him, and then he put the hurt lock on Gable and got the submission victory. Austin Theory immediately came in after the match was over. 3-on-1 attack. Theory went for a selfie, but then Lashley fought back, hit Gable with the spear, and then went to spear Theory, but Theory was able to escape at the last second. Match was fine. I mean, whatever. Not sure what direction we're going in with Lashley and Theory. Everyone thinks it's Theory versus Cena at SummerSlam. Maybe they're just waiting for Money in the Bank before going in a definitive direction with Theory, and that's why Cena did not even tease a match for SummerSlam. Again, as I mentioned before, I would honestly be fine if Theory lost to Lashley and Lashley defends the U.S. title against John Cena at SummerSlam. Like, I think John Cena versus Bobby Lashley is a more appealing match at this point than Theory. I know they're trying to make Theory the next big thing, but right now, I'm not really feeling it that much. Maybe he needs that match with John Cena for me to feel it, but I'm kind of digging the idea of John Cena versus Lashley. We had a recap of what happened to Cody Rhodes with the bicep, or not the bicep, the tricep injury, or the pec injury. What am I thinking here? The torn pectoral muscle. So many people getting injured these days, it's hard to keep track of what's what. And, 3 weeks ago, we've had a bunch of injuries since then. The torn pectoral muscle. So Cody was interviewed in a gym, and he talked about his rehab being a game of highs and lows. He said that he was flying high going into Hell in a Cell, and maybe he flew a little too close to the sun. He talked about how they're saying he's going to be out of action for 9 months, and he's trying to respect that. He praised the Money in the Bank participants and said that if Seth Rollins wins, he will be the first to congratulate him. And responding to this comment on the screen, I do not think he will be out 9 months. I think this is a work, and he will be back for the Royal Rumble. I think that's the idea. You want people to think he will not be back for the Royal Rumble, but I strongly suspect that's when we'll see Cody back in action. We had Seth Franklin Rollins confronting John Cena backstage, and Rollins was humming the horns from John Cena's song and reminded Cena of when he broke his nose back at SummerSlam. He said that they actually have a lot in common, although even though they're both Money in the Bank winners, Seth Franklin Rollins won in epic fashion. John Cena failed in his attempt to cash in Money in the Bank. Omos and MVP arrived, and MVP said he has a vision of Omos with the Money in the Bank briefcase. John Cena was basically like, good luck, Rollins, and walked off, patted him on the back, and took his leave. So nice little segment here. Mo Camera sent in a $2.79 super chat. Thank you for that, Mo. Says, stop forcing me to like John Cena. Nobody's forcing you to like it. If you don't like John Cena, you don't like him. But I think you got to give the guy at least some credit. You can say, hey, you know what? He's not my cup of tea, but the dude busts his ass and works hard and has earned his success. I think you can at least give him that credit. I'm not a fan of Star Wars, but I give them credit where credit is due for the franchise that they created and what they've accomplished with it. I'm not a fan, but I respect what they did. You can respect John Cena. You don't necessarily have to be a fan of the John Cena character, but you should still show respect to the guy. And the constant Cena's boring, Jan Cena, like, we get it, Mo. We know you don't like him. Let's move on. We then had a last chance Money in the Bank qualifier. Becky Lynch, Xia Li, Nikki Ash, Doudrop, Shayna Baszler, Tamina. Becky Lynch got an entrance. Xia Li kind of got an entrance, and that was it. To me, this was a very anticlimactic ending to this show. Like, did anybody really think that anyone else other than Becky Lynch was going to win this match? And Mo Camera, enough, man. You gotta stop with this. He's not exploiting kids, and he's the reason this Raw sold out by far. And we have the numbers to back that up. They had about 3,700 tickets sold. John Cena was announced, and they packed the place. They almost doubled the amount of tickets they sold. So he's not turning away people. If anything, he's getting people tuning in that haven't been watching in a while. So again, you are 100% wrong on that, Mo Camera. I'm sorry. Now, we had this match, and it was elimination. Everyone was targeting Becky at first, and then they started fighting each other. They were kind of dumb. Why not just beat Becky and get her out of the picture if she's the odds-on favorite? So Xia Li was the first one out, pinned with the manhandle slam. Nikki Ash was tapped out by Becky with the disarmor, and we were down to 4. They did the Tower of Doom spot with the power bomb and the double suplex. You know, we saw it at Forbidden Door. We see it constantly. It's overdone, but it always gets a crowd pop, so they tend to do it as much as possible. Crowd was really not into this match either. Like, it was flat, but they did pop for the Tower of Doom spot. Like I said, easiest pop you can get by doing that spot. Doudrop pinned Shayna Baszler, which is a crime against humanity. And then Tamina somehow made it to the end of this almost. She got pinned by Doudrop. Doudrop hit an elbow from the middle rope. It's down to Doudrop and Becky. Doudrop never beats Becky. She missed the Vader bomb. Becky hit the avalanche manhandle slam, which I will admit was a cool finish, and Becky got the win. So, I mean, she's the right choice, but the match itself I thought was predictable. No crowd heat. Flat ending to the show. And that was Raw, everybody. John Cena's appearance was great. I loved it. And that was really the highlight of the show. That and the Battle Royal. The Battle Royal was really solid. I don't think I said enough about the Battle Royal as far as my overall thoughts. Like, I thought they did a really good job with the Battle Royal. That was fun. But everything else, man, not great in my opinion. Main event was flat, and there just wasn't a lot of storyline development. You know, you had the Uso match with Montez Ford, which was kind of just, you know, momentum match. You had a couple of those on this show. AJ Styles, his match ended with a count out, you know, no real storyline progression. I guess they announced that Logan Paul is going to be at SummerSlam. So there you go. All in all, I will give the show, I'll be generous because of John Cena. I'm going to give it a B-. Without John Cena, I'd probably go like a C- with the Battle Royal helping out a little bit. But yeah, B- for Raw, somewhat recommend. Mainly the John Cena segment and the Battle Royal. Everything else, I think you probably could have skipped. And that's it, everybody. Thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. I appreciate it. Coming up next on the channel, we got the predictions for Money in the Bank. I hope to see you guys there. And come on, Mo, 0 out of 10. Like, you're going to lose credibility. if you criticize something, part of the key to good criticism is also acknowledging the positives. So if you're just negative constantly, you're not going to have any credibility. If you want credibility with your opinions, you have to be balanced, and you have to say, well, you know what? I understand the other perspective. That's something you really got to focus on, Mo. Anyways, on that note, I hope to see Mo in the chat room. Maybe he'll have some positivity, and I hope to see the rest of you in there as we talk about Money in the Bank predictions. Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, 1 hour before NXT. See you guys then. Take care, everybody. And remember to say yes to NoDQ.com. See you all then.